I want you to imagine, just for a second, the actual backbone of the modern economy.
Okay.
Because, we spend so much time talking about flashy Silicon Valley apps or like algorithmic trading platforms or just the latest consumer tech.
The stuff that usually makes the headlines.
Right, exactly. But beneath all of that is a highly efficient, highly physical world that actually keeps everything else running.
Oh, for sure.
We're talking about commercial fleets, the delivery vans, the repair trucks, the temporary replacement vehicles,
Yeah.
and even that massive insurance claims machinery that kicks in the moment someone, accidentally backs one of those vans into a loading dock.
It really is the invisible infrastructure of
Yeah.
daily life.
Yeah.
I mean, if those vehicles stop moving, commerce just stops moving.
Yeah,
The
completely.
supply chains freeze, the local repairs don't happen, the packages just start piling up in warehouses.
Which brings us to the mission of today's deep dive. We are unpacking the FY 2026 full year results for a massive player in this mobility and fleet management space, ZIGUP. We've got their latest financial reporting right in front of us, and the goal today is to understand how a seemingly traditional B2B company in a really operational sector is quietly generating massive cash flow.
It's super interesting.
And they're navigating a really complex macroeconomic environment and doing it with a surprising amount of agility.
Well, the scale of their operation is really what makes this such a fascinating case study. I mean, this isn't a company just moving bytes around a server farm.
Yeah.
They are moving literal tons of metal across multiple countries. The logistics involved in maintaining that kind of physical footprint are just staggering.
So to put some hard numbers to that scale, we're looking at an underlying revenue of 1.636 billion pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, that's up 5.2% from the previous year. And physically, they are managing a fleet of 139,400 vehicles, which actually grew by nearly 6%.
That's a lot of vans.
It is. When I look at ZIGUP, I kind of see them as the roadies of the business world.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Right. They aren't the rock stars center stage. They aren't the big brand name on the front of the retail store. But if they don't show up, if the vans aren't ready and waiting, the entire concert gets canceled.
Yeah, exactly.
So my question for you as we get into this is the real money in business actually in the boring stuff?
Looking at the numbers in this report, I'd say it strongly suggests the answer is yes. The boring stuff is incredibly lucrative, if you can execute it at scale.
All right.
And more importantly, it's about optimization. Because when you manage a fleet of nearly 140,000 vehicles, every little micro efficiency you find compounds.
Oh, sure. The math just scales.
Exactly. If you can shave half a day off a vehicle being out of service or negotiate a fractional discount on a bulk parts order, you multiply that by 140,000 and suddenly you're looking at millions of pounds in margin.
Let's jump straight into what proves that optimization, because there is one financial metric from this report that really, it just stands out.
Cash flow.
Yes, the cash flow. We see their underlying EBITDA, so earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization is up 8.2% to 503 million pounds.
A really solid bump.
Yeah. And their EBIT, excluding disposals, is sitting at 164 million pounds, which is a 9.7% increase.
Right.
But the number that I find just most revealing is their, quote, steady state cash generation. It jumped by 79 million pounds to reach 96 million pounds in a single year.
Which is wild. A jump of that magnitude is a massive positive inflection for the business.
Right.
It highlights a fundamental truth about fleet management that, honestly, often gets overlooked. Managing the timeline of money is just as critical as managing the vehicles themselves.
Let's unpack that, because I want to playfully push back on the 79 million pound cash jump.
Okay, go for it.
When I see a surge like that in a single year, my brain immediately wonders if we're looking at, clever spreadsheet management.
Ah, yeah, the accounting tricks.
Exactly. Accounting timing, delaying, paying a massive supplier bill until the first week of the next quarter just to make the current quarter look cash rich.
Right.
Did they just shift numbers around, or did they fundamentally change the plumbing of how they operate to actually get that cash in the door?
It's totally healthy to be skeptical of sudden cash surges, but the report points to a real structural shift in their operations. They cite a significant working capital inflow.
Okay.
So this wasn't just delaying a bill, it was a systemic improvement in cash collections and the strategic timing of their payments.
Interesting.
Think about a capital-intensive business, right? You have an enormous amount of money tied up in depreciating assets, the vans. The speed at which you collect cash from your corporate clients versus the speed at which you pay your own supply chain, that dictates your reality.
Oh, so it's really about tightening the financial plumbing.
Exactly.
Like if I can negotiate with my parts suppliers to pay them in 60 days, but I tighten up my own invoicing so my rental clients have to pay me in 15 days.
You've created a massive buffer.
Yeah. I've created a 45-day window where I'm essentially operating on other people's money. I have the cash in hand before I even have to settle my own debts.
That is the exact mechanism of working capital optimization. And the craziest part is they managed to pull this off while concurrently spending £132.4 million in growth capex.
Wait, 132 million?
Yeah. They are pouring money into buying new vehicles to grow the fleet, which is a massive cash outflow, right?
Right.
Yet they still generated that $96 million in steady-state cash. It just shows a crazy level of discipline in how they are moving capital through the business.
Which naturally brings us to another metric that tells kind of a complex story here. Their ROCE, or Return on Capital Employed.
Ah, yes.
For you listening, ROCE is a classic metric used to judge how efficiently a company is using its capital to generate profits. Basically, for every pound you put into the business, how much profit does it spit out?
Exactly.
Now, ZIGup's ROCE is sitting at 11.2%, but there's a real tension in the report here. Overall, the headline ROCE actually dropped by 1.4 percentage points.
Yeah.
But then they claim an underlying improvement of 0.5 percentage points. So how can a metric be down and up at the same time?
I know it sounds like doublespeak, but this is a classic quirk of how financial statements read in asset-heavy industries.
Okay, walk me through it.
To understand the headline drop of 1.4 points, we actually have to look back at the used vehicle market over the last couple of years.
Oh, during the pandemic.
Yeah, post-pandemic, there was that massive global semiconductor shortage.
Yeah.
You remember you couldn't buy a new van for love or money.
I remember that. Yeah.
Because of that, the value of used vans just skyrocketed. So companies like ZIGUP were making unusually high, basically anomalous margins when they sold off their old fleet vehicles.
Oh, I see. So they were making a killing just selling their retired vans because the market was totally starved for inventory.
Exactly. They were getting prices they normally never would. But now that market is normalizing.
Right.
The outsized disposal profits have cooled off, which naturally drags the overall headline ROCE back down to earth.
But if we strip away the noise of the used car market, we get to that 0.5% underlying improvement.
Right, the core business.
And we have to look at that improvement alongside their growth strategy, right? Because they're actively buying thousands of new vehicles right now.
Yes.
When a company buys a massive batch of new vans, they deploy a lot of capital immediately. And that dilutes the ROCE in the short term because those brand new vehicles just haven't had the time to generate years of monthly rental income yet.
You nailed it. The denominator, the capital employed, gets bigger instantly,
Right.
while the numerator, the profit, takes time to catch up.
Makes sense.
So the fact that their underlying operational return on capital improved despite that short-term mathematical dilution from buying new fleets, that's a really strong signal.
Wow.
It means the core rental and service engine is running incredibly efficiently.
So they're basically taking a calculated hit on the spreadsheet today because they know those new vans are going to be cash-generating workhorses for the next 4 or 5 years. It's patient capital.
Patient and highly disciplined.
So if they have this massive fleet of 139,400 vehicles generating all this cash, we need to look at the geography of their growth to understand what's actually driving the demand.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, where are these vehicles physically located? And according to the report, Spain is currently the absolute standout engine for their business.
Yeah, the performance of their Spanish division, Northgate Hispana, is remarkably strong right now.
It's crazy. Vehicle hire revenue in Spain is up 16.2% to £349 million, and their rental profits over there are up 15.7%, hitting £67 million.
Massive growth.
What specifically is driving that kind of double-digit growth in that particular market?
Well, the report attributes this to a really solid macroeconomic environment in Spain right now, combined with their unique service-led solutions.
Okay.
They aren't just dropping a set of keys on a client's desk. They are really integrating into the client operations. But zooming out, the success in Spain and their overall resilience globally is driven by structural macro tailwinds. These tailwinds are basically forcing businesses everywhere to rethink how they manage logistics.
Before we break down those specific tailwinds, let's just look at the UK and Ireland market for a second, because that's their historical base.
Yeah, the UK.
The UK and I market remains resilient, showing steady momentum. Vehicle hire revenue is up 5.2% to £413 million.
Solid.
But the number that I found genuinely revealing is the Claims and Services division. This includes brands like FMG.
Oh, yeah.
That division brought in £898 million in revenue.
It's an enormous segment of their operation. I mean, Claims and Services encompasses incident management, direct claims management, vehicle recovery, and repair networks.
So it fundamentally changes the relationship with the customer. It's
Wow.
not just, here is a van. It's, if your driver gets into an accident, we will dispatch the tow truck, recover the vehicle, route it to our repair network, handle the entire insurance claim process, and drop a temporary replacement van at your depot so your deliveries don't miss a beat.
Exactly. It creates a deeply embedded ecosystem. Once a corporate customer integrates their operations with that level of comprehensive service, the switching costs become painfully high.
Oh, they'd never want to leave.
They rely on it.
Good.
And this leads directly into those macro tailwinds mentioned in the report: structural moves to outsourcing, skills shortages, and supplier consolidation.
I want to spend some time on this because when I look at those trends and I look at ZIGP's rental model, it strongly resembles a shift we saw in the software industry a decade ago.
Oh, that's an interesting comparison.
It looks a lot like software as a service SaaS, but applied to physical logistics. It's vans as a service.
Vans as a service. I love that.
Right. Businesses seem to be renting flexibility so they don't have their cash trapped in depreciating metal assets.
Think about the mechanics of how, say, a mid-sized logistics or plumbing company has to operate today amid all this economic uncertainty. If they decide to purchase a fleet of 50 vans outright, that is a massive capital expenditure. That cash leaves their balance sheet and gets trapped in metal assets that literally lose value the moment they're driven off the lot.
Yeah, standard depreciation.
Exactly. And if the economy cools down 6 months later and they only need 30 vans to meet demand, they are stuck with 20 idle assets slowly rusting in a parking lot, just bleeding value.
But by using a model like ZIGP's, they convert that massive upfront capital expenditure CapEx into an operating expenditure, or OpEx.
Right.
It becomes a predictable monthly line item. They are essentially renting a financial hedge against uncertainty. If demand drops, they just return the vans. If demand spikes, they request more.
And that flexibility becomes even more critical when you factor in the skills shortage mentioned in the report.
Oh, the mechanic shortage.
Yeah. Finding qualified mechanics has always been tough, but the sheer complexity of modern vehicles is really accelerating the problem. We aren't just talking about changing the oil on a diesel engine anymore.
Right, because as fleets transition to electric vehicles, the mechanic needs to be part software engineer and part high-voltage electrician.
Exactly. A local plumbing company can't afford to build a specialized high-voltage diagnostic bay and train in-house technicians just to keep their 20 vans running.
So by outsourcing to ZIGP, the business doesn't just rent the vehicle.
No.
They rent the entire maintenance infrastructure, the compliance tracking, the repair network. The local plumbing company lets ZIGP worry about the mechanic shortage and the depreciation curves, allowing them to focus entirely on their core competency plumbing.
And as the supplier, ZIGUP benefits from economies of scale that the plumbing business could never dream of.
Right.
They can negotiate bulk purchase rates on vehicles, source replacement parts cheaper, and optimize insurance costs across 140,000 assets.
Which brings up the sheer operational reality of running a company this complex. I mean, managing over 139,000 vehicles across multiple countries, multiple brands.
It's a lot to juggle.
You've got Northgate Mobility, FMG, Northgate Hispana, New Loss Solicitors for Claims, Charge Dev for EV infrastructure. An organization with that many moving parts could so easily devolve into a bureaucratic nightmare.
Oh, absolutely. It could become bloated, slow, and just bleed cash through administrative friction.
Right. So to maintain the margins we've been discussing, their internal operations have to be incredibly lean.
Yes.
This is where their simplification strategy comes into focus, particularly in the UK and Ireland.
The UK&I simplification program.
Right. The report outlines this, and they are targeting £10 million in savings by FY2027, ramping up to a £20 million run rate by FY2028. And they note that they've already achieved a third of these savings.
Which is great progress.
It is, but I have to be honest, I'm highly skeptical of corporate jargon. Often simplification or like synergies is just a polite MBA-approved euphemism for mass layoff.
Sure, that's my common fear.
Are they just indiscriminately slashing headcount to protect margins, or are they actually rewiring the underlying plumbing of how the company functions?
It's a totally valid skepticism, because aggressive cost-cutting usually results in a corresponding and immediate drop in customer service quality.
Yeah, if you fire half your support staff, your clients are going to notice.
Exactly. However, the evidence in the report suggests ZIGUP is genuinely attacking the structural complexity of their legacy tech systems.
Okay, so what does rewiring the plumbing actually look like for a massive fleet management company?
Well, they detail specific investments in technology. For example, they're heavily investing in third-party API integrations.
Okay, real quick for you listening, an API, an application programming interface, is basically a digital bridge that allows two completely different software systems to talk to each other securely and automatically.
Right, and the impact of that is huge.
Yeah.
Think about the traditional way a repair gets handled. A customer calls ZIGUP to report a breakdown. A ZIGUP agent types that into their system, then picks up the phone or sends an email to a third-party independent garage.
Sounds tedious.
It is. Then someone at that garage reads the email and rekeys all that same data into their own local booking system. That manual swivel chairing between systems introduces delays, human error, and massive administrative overhead.
Oh, I see. So with the API integration, the ZIGUT system talks directly to the independent garage's system.
Instantaneously.
The work order, the vehicle specs, and the billing authorization just happen in the background. It removes all that friction.
Exactly. They also highlight a one-road simplification program to unify their processes and an advanced contact center platform to streamline customer interactions.
Nice.
But the most compelling technological leap is actually happening in their body shop facilities.
Oh!
Yeah, they specifically mentioned a facility in Cardiff where they've deployed a Microsoft AI collaboration to assess vehicle damage.
Okay, this is a really clever application of the technology. Let's talk about the mechanics of how that actually works.
Sure.
Traditionally, if a van gets into a collision, an insurance adjuster has to physically travel to the lot, walk around the vehicle with a clipboard and a digital camera, take photos, go back to an office, upload them.
It takes days.
Yeah. And then spend hours cross-referencing parts catalogs just to build an estimate. But by utilizing artificial intelligence, the process is compressed into seconds.
It's unbelievable.
The AI uses computer vision trained on millions of historical insurance photos. You feed it a picture of the damaged van, and the AI can instantly recognize panel deformation.
Oh.
It cross-references that specific deformation with the manufacturer's exact schematics for that make and model, predicts structural damage beneath the panel, and automatically pulls the required part numbers to generate an estimate.
It basically triages the repair process at a speed a human adjuster simply cannot match.
That's incredible.
And it can order parts predictively before the van even reaches the repair bay. For ZIGP's clients, the single most important metric is how fast a damaged van gets back on the road making deliveries. This technology directly impacts that turnaround time.
Which brings us to the true test of whether this simplification is working or if it's just breaking things behind the scenes.
The customer metrics.
Exactly. If you cut costs by making it harder for your customers to get help, your satisfaction metrics will inevitably tank. But ZIGP's customer metrics remain exceptionally high.
They really do.
Their Net Promoter Score, or NPS, which measures how likely a customer is to recommend the service, is actually up 2 points to 66. And their Trustpilot score is sitting at 4.9 out of 5.
Maintaining scores that high in a B2B service environment is difficult, especially one that deals with high-stress, high-friction situations like vehicle collisions, insurance claims, and roadside breakdowns.
Absolutely.
It proves that they are successfully walking that tightrope. They're lowering their cost to serve while simultaneously improving the speed and quality of the service through technology.
They included a quote in the earnings report that I think really grounds all of these abstract metrics in reality. It's from Stephen Floyd, the fleet manager at Southern Housing.
Oh, I saw that.
He praised ZIGUP's, quote, flexibility, operational efficiency, and fleet expertise. He specifically noted that they provide mobility and repair solutions unavailable elsewhere in the market.
That's high praise.
It is. When a fleet manager for a housing association puts his name on a public quote for a financial report, it means these tech integrations are actually translating into real-world reliability.
Because for Stephen Floyd, if a repair van is sitting in a shop waiting for an insurance adjuster, a tenant's broken heater isn't getting fixed.
Exactly. ZIGP's operational efficiency ensures that tenant isn't left in the cold.
It really bridges the gap between high-level financial strategy and ground-level execution. The technology isn't just about saving ZIGUP money. It's about minimizing operational downtime for their clients.
Bringing this all together, ZIGUP's FY 2026 report is a masterclass in leveraging a massive, undeniably unglamorous physical asset base to generate serious cash flow.
100%.
We are looking at a company managing 139,400 vehicles, turning that logistical complexity into 96 million pounds of steady-state cash generation.
It's so impressive.
They are capitalizing on a booming Spanish market, and they're executing a rigorous, tech-driven internal simplification to keep their margins healthy and their customers loyal.
It perfectly illustrates why looking beyond the hype cycles of consumer tech can be so rewarding.
Right.
True business resilience and structural operational leverage often don't look like a sleek new app. Often it looks like an impeccably managed fleet of mobile repair vans and a seamless AI-driven insurance claim process.
Yeah.
It is about solving complex, physical, real-world problems for businesses that cannot afford to stop moving.
It is the vans as a service revolution happening right in plain sight. But as we wrap up, I want to leave you, the listener, with one final provocative thought to mull over.
Okay, what is it?
Throughout this report, there are these really subtle mentions of the energy transition. ZIGUP operates an infrastructure brand called ChargeDev, and they're actively helping their customers transition from internal combustion engines to electric vehicles.
Which, as we touched on earlier, is a monumental logistical challenge regarding maintenance and charging infrastructure.
It is, but think about what that transition means a decade from now.
Okay.
If a company like ZIGP manages a massive transition of 140,000 plus vehicles to electric power, they are no longer just a rental company. Think about vehicle-to-grid or V2G technology.
Oh, wow. The ability for an EV battery to not just take power from the grid, but push power back into it.
Exactly. With bidirectional chargers, a fleet of electric vans parked overnight becomes a massive distributed energy storage system.
That's fascinating.
ZIGUP will effectively manage a dispersed network of 140,000 highly mobile, high-capacity batteries. The question is, will massive fleet managers eventually evolve into the new energy brokers of the future?
It's entirely possible.
Will they control vast mobile grids of power that can be deployed to stabilize local electrical grids during peak demand? Because if the real money is in the boring stuff, it doesn't get much more foundational to our future than controlling the grid itself.
That is a wild thought.
Something to think about next time you see a delivery van pass by.